And when it happens, I need to know that this company is going to have my back. I cannot sign this contract unless I know that this company is going to have my back.
Okay, so this is going to be kind of like an impromptu analysis, only because this is weighing heavy on my spirit. Miss Amanda Seals, and I've actually talked about Miss Amanda on my TikTok before. I forgot what video I stitched or maybe referenced. I think it was her Club Shay Shay interview, excuse me. It was her Club Shay Shay interview, and I pulled from certain clips, and I just felt compelled to talk about Amanda during that time because I feel like a lot of people, when they think about Amanda or they hear Amanda's name come up in discussion, they immediately rush to shut their ears off, or to like cover their ears. They don't want to hear it. They feel like, she's too abrasive, too aggressive, or, she complains too much, et cetera, et cetera. But it's something that I was always taught when I was younger, not even just from my parents, but elders in general, my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents, is sometimes you have to overlook the messenger to receive the message. And, it's something that I just held dear to my heart and my principles, because there are instances where someone may deliver some facts to me and I might not be, fond of the delivery, or I may not be fond of the deliverer, but it's not a coincidental interaction. And I always internalize experiences and messages that are given to me, even if it's something that I take note of as far as, okay, this is somebody who they delivered this message and they've shown through this message that they don't have good intentions for me. But there are also instances where you kind of have to bite the bullet, for lack of better words, of, okay, I may not like this person, but what they just gave me, it was game and it was free game, and I'm going to cherish it and implement it moving forward. However, for this analysis today, I want to utilize Amanda Seals as a muse. And in particular, I want to talk about how important it is to guard your heart when it comes to professional and entrepreneurial affairs. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop into this analysis. So first things first, one thing that I want to address and also normalize is getting into the habit of assessing whether or not we are fit for corporate America. I feel that maybe a lot of the programming and a lot of the norms that have been placed on us, whether it be from our immediate circle or just other environments, we're conditioned to think that we all have to operate the same way, and professionalism is no exception. A lot of us assume that we are called to kind of follow the status quo and, go out and align ourselves with corporate opportunities and align ourselves with corporate relationships. However, we haven't done that thorough assessment before getting started with anything professionally to gauge whether or not our characteristics and our traits are compatible with corporate America. And for some people who argue, well, technically she's not in corporate America. Okay, that's fine, however you want to title it. But any industry that requires you kind of watering down your free thinking abilities and standing firm on your personal values and belief systems, any system, right? Any opportunity, any industry that requires that in order to keep a position, and that you have some issues with doing that, that means that is not the professional opportunity for you. And a lot of the time, what we find ourselves dealing with, and it's an unfortunate thing to deal with, is we're trying to force ourselves in this box subconsciously, and we're trying to wrap our head around why we're experiencing so much interpersonal conflict and friction, but it's because we're trying to squeeze a triangle piece into a square puzzle. And this is why I want people to start getting into the habit of and normalizing, okay, first I need to assess my characteristics and traits to see if pursuing this type of industry is even compatible for me. And vice versa, if the industry that I'm trying to align myself with, if they hold up a mirror to me and they're just like, you know what, we don't want free thinkers. We don't want independent thinkers. We prefer you to just show up, clock in, do your job, and get out of here. If you realize that it's a mismatched situation, it's important to get into the habit of pivoting. You all know I'm big on pivoting. I'm big on departure. When you realize you are being disrespected or disregarded, I'm big on packing your stuff up and getting out of Dodge. And back to our muse, Amanda, I believe that a lot of the friction, and people might be like, girl, you are tripping. We have this example of this example of this example, but I'm wired a little bit different. And quite frankly, it's Black History Month. I'm not really putting my eggs in the basket of coming against any Black woman or Black person right now. But nevertheless, I do feel for Amanda. I really do. And I do believe it's because she has presented so many valid points. And I think people get lost in the sauce of trying to overshadow the valid points that she's made in the past and currently because there was something else that she said or did that they weren't necessarily fond of. Now, I'm also fair. People have the right to exercise free will in their choice. If they're not rocking with you, they're not rocking with you. But the reason I want to utilize Amanda as a muse is it's so important when you start to navigate professional relationships and opportunities. You have to develop the mindset of, okay, I am officially stepping into a lion's den. And what's super interesting is I was just thinking of Amanda the other day, and sure enough, I saw some clips popping up about Amanda addressing her time, working on the set of Insecure, and her stating that she wasn't necessarily fond of that experience. Now, if you all are familiar with my channel, you all know that I've done an analysis on the show Insecure. I love the show, and I also love and respect Issa. First and foremost, I believe that Issa is a pillar for the Black community, especially when we talk about navigating the entertainment industry. Issa has provided exceptional representation for Black artistry, Black creatives, and to add the icing on the cake, providing representation for darker skinned women. So it's unfortunate that there was any kind of friction, but I do want to state this. Yet again, it's Black History Month, so I'm making this analysis towards Amanda, but I also encourage you all to support what Issa has going on, and especially her latest film starring SZA and Keke Palmer, because what Issa Rae is doing, it's important for the Black community. It's also important for Black creatives and Black individuals within the entertainment industry specifically. In a perfect world, I want them to actually, diffuse the situation and come to some kind of agreement, because I hate so bad seeing situations like this. But nevertheless, I did also take, this news that popped up today into consideration, and why I even felt compelled to make this analysis regarding Amanda, because it's important when you're navigating these relationships to guard your heart and get into the principle of it. And this also means understanding that there are going to be certain people that you work with that just don't see it for you. They do not like you. I hate to say it like this, and I'm not speaking for anyone. I'm just saying in general. Let me clear that up. I'm not speaking for anyone, and I'm not making any conclusions. I'm just being realistic. And even with my own personal experiences, there were absolutely people that I worked with and I was like, they can't stand me, but we were still able to get tasks done in a group partnership and some kind of collaboration, because realistically, when we worked together, it was complementary. Now, I will say this. I had those experiences and I endured them when I was in a space of, wanting to occupy those positions, stay in those environments, and stay in those opportunities. Once I got to the point to where I wanted to branch out and blossom into other things, and I just didn't find the disrespect that I was experiencing or the interpersonal friction that I was experiencing worthy of my time anymore, I started to realize it was counterproductive. That's when I started to implement principles such as pivoting and realizing that when I'm disrespected and I'm disregarded, it's time for me to depart. However, my presence or absence was predicated upon me discerning whether or not a connection or an opportunity was even worth me exerting extra energy and time into. And this was first and foremost done by detaching emotionally. And this is key when you are navigating professional spaces. And in one of my most recent analyses that I posted today, ironically enough, I talked about how it's important to develop this principle of essentially emotional regulation when you're navigating systems of power, but most importantly, how you have to release the expectation of being able to trust those that you work with or expecting some kind of loyalty from those that you work with in a professional capacity. And I know a lot of us have heard sayings like, if it doesn't make a dollar, it doesn't make sense. And what that's alluding to is a lot of professional opportunities that are going to be presented to you are simply going to be based on your performance and what you bring to the table. Even if people count you out in the beginning, they'll reel you back in if they realize that you are bringing something of value professionally. However, if you are someone who you're attempting to navigate professional spaces and also anticipate some kind of, kindness and dependability and loyalty, you might just be setting yourself up for a trap. And to better explain what I mean by this, I'm going to read from the section "In Business There's No Trust" from the book "In the Lion's Den: Navigating Systems of Power." And the section reads, "The only way to build and maintain a business is to rely on yourself. Even in partnerships, there are no guarantees that an agreement may be made. Achieving and maintaining power comes from understanding that problem solving and backup plans are essential, never optional. Trust should be reserved for family and close friends. In the professional world, there is no room for trust." And that section goes into some additional details as far as not becoming cynical. It's just not putting your eggs in that trust basket so that you don't lose momentum. And in fact, if you do find yourself in a professional position where commitments were honored, then you express gratitude and appreciation. However, when you don't face it, first and foremost, it should be an expectation because when you're navigating a den of lions, expecting loyalty or people to ease up on you probably isn't the best thing to do. But if you do find yourself facing that conflict, you will at least be prepared for it and it won't feel like such a heavy blow. So gatekeeping trust in a professional context is not necessarily about becoming calloused or cynical. Instead, it's about protecting your emotional and mental well-being. Another thing that adopting this principle does is it helps you prepare for rugs being pulled from under you. And that was actually the clip that was referenced at the very beginning of this analysis. She was explaining what had recently happened with I guess, a position that she was once aligned with. And then, I guess they decided to part ways with her. And reading from the pull the rug technique section will provide some additional context as far as what this may look like. And the pull the rug technique section reads, "To pull the rug out from someone is to upset their stability or to cause their plans to fail. To understand this idiom, just imagine what will happen if you were standing on a rug and it was suddenly snatched from under you. You will probably lose your balance or fall, which is what the envious individual wants to happen. They attack the target's sense of balance, leading to confusion and lack of preparation. This is also evident when a person is obsessed with blindsiding you, catching you off guard, and even attempting to embarrass you." And this is why withholding trust professionally, but also implementing the principle of disassociating our emotions from professional endeavors and interactions is vital. Because the pull the rug technique, it's not always about, pulling certain opportunities from you just for the sake of crippling you professionally or financially. Sometimes it's designed to throw you off emotionally and mentally and to trigger an emotional reaction. So to wrap this analysis up with Amanda Sills being our muse, when it comes to professionalism, navigating professional relationships and endeavors, essentially you are navigating a lion's den. And one of the first things that you have to do when navigating such a space is, first and foremost, you have to get into the habit of withholding trust. Because when you withhold trust, you take away any expectations that you may try to place on them, and you disassociate from any expectations people try to place on you. Additionally, what it does is it refrains people from gaining leverage over you by poking you emotionally and mentally. All right, babes. That's all that I have for this analysis today. But of course, I want to hear you all's perspectives, your opinions, and your comments in the comment section below. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in, and I look forward to speaking to you guys in the next one. Take care, babes.